Imagine a company built on a single powerful promise: absolute security. For decades, that company was Crypto AG. Based in Zug, Switzerland, it projected an image of perfect neutrality and impenetrable engineering. Countries around the world, from Latin America to the Middle East, trusted Crypto AG to protect their most sensitive secrets. They believed they were buying the best encryption machines money could buy, crafted by a nation famous for its discretion. This trust was the company's greatest asset. It sold devices to over 120 nations, becoming the gold standard for governments who were wary of buying technology from superpowers like the United States. They were buying Swiss precision and, they thought, Swiss independence. This entire image, however, was a masterfully constructed illusion. The story begins not in Switzerland, but with a quiet agreement in 1951. The company's founder, a Swedish inventor named Boris Hagelin, made a deal with American intelligence. He agreed to sell his most advanced, truly secure machines only to a list of countries approved by the US. In return, he was handsomely compensated. This was the seed of a much larger plan. For years, the CIA cultivated this relationship, helping Crypto AG grow its global reach. The agency understood that to control the flow of information, you first had to be the one selling the locks. Every sale expanded their net, and every new client unknowingly invited them in. The quiet partnership escalated dramatically in 1970. In a transaction shrouded in total secrecy, the Central Intelligence Agency and West Germany's intelligence service, the BND, bought Crypto AG outright. They paid $5.75 million, using shell companies and a law firm in Liechtenstein to hide their identities. The code name for this audacious plan was Operation Rubicon. From that moment on, the world's most trusted encryption company was secretly owned by two of the world's most powerful spy agencies. The very people its customers sought to hide from were now in complete control of the factory, the blueprints, and the sales pitches that promised impenetrable secrecy. The new owners ran the company with meticulous care, ensuring its public reputation remained spotless. They installed managers they could trust and guided the company's research and development. From the outside, Crypto AG was a thriving Swiss business. On the inside, it was a covert intelligence platform on a scale never seen before. The employees, the salesmen, and even most of the engineers had no idea who they were truly working for. They believed they were building devices to protect secrets, when in reality, they were building the most effective backdoors for American and German spies to walk right through, listening to the world's most private conversations. The genius of Operation Rubicon was its deceptive simplicity. Crypto AG didn't just sell one type of machine, it sold two. For friendly governments and allies, the company provided genuinely secure devices that offered robust, state-of-the-art encryption. These sales were essential for maintaining the company's reputation. If everyone's codes were broken, suspicion would rise quickly. So, countries like Sweden, Spain, and Switzerland received the real deal. They were secure in their communications, and their satisfaction served as a powerful endorsement for Crypto AG's products, making the company seem even more credible to other, less favored nations who wanted the same level of protection. For the majority of its customers, however, Crypto AG produced something very different. These were the rigged machines. On the surface, they looked and functioned exactly like their secure counterparts. But deep inside, their encryption algorithms were deliberately weakened by CIA and NSA engineers. The changes were subtle and brilliant. In one model, the CX52, the internal mechanics were manipulated to produce simpler, more predictable codes. The user manuals provided to these customers were also part of the deception. They were sometimes written to guide operators into using the machines in their least secure modes, creating a digital lock that made a satisfying click but never truly fastened shut. This two-tiered system allowed the CIA and BND to create a global listening network. They could read the encrypted diplomatic cables, military orders, and intelligence reports of countries like Iran, Libya, Argentina, and dozens of others. The intelligence gathered was invaluable. During the Falklands War in 1982, the United States and Germany intercepted Argentina's military communications. They passed this critical information to Britain, which authorities later said was a decisive factor in their victory. The British knew where Argentine forces were moving, giving them a massive strategic advantage that helped turn the tide of the war. It was a secret weapon hidden in plain sight. Another dramatic example came during the Iran hostage crisis in 1979. As American diplomats were held captive in Tehran, U.S. officials were desperately trying to negotiate their release. The situation was tense and unpredictable. However, thanks to Operation Rubicon, the CIA could read the secret messages being sent between the Iranian government and their Algerian mediators. President Jimmy Carter had a direct line into his adversaries' strategy sessions. He knew what Iran's bottom line was and could anticipate their next moves in the high-stakes negotiation. This inside knowledge provided a crucial edge in a crisis that had gripped the entire world. The intelligence gathered through Operation Rubicon was undeniably powerful, but it came at a profound moral cost. The CIA and BND were not just passive listeners, they became silent witnesses to horrific events. During Argentina's dirty war in the 1970s and 80s, the military junta was systematically kidnapping, torturing, and murdering its own citizens. German intelligence, listening through their crypto AG backdoors, intercepted chilling communications detailing these atrocities. They read reports of dissidents being drugged and thrown alive from airplanes into the Atlantic Ocean. They knew about the state-sponsored murder of an estimated 30,000 people, but chose to remain silent, prioritizing the secrecy of the operation above all else. This dark side of the operation also had a very human face. Hans Buehler was a top salesman for Crypto AG, a loyal employee who genuinely believed in the products he sold. In 1992, he was arrested in Iran. The Iranians had grown suspicious that the machines were rigged and threw Buehler in prison as a spy. He was completely unaware of his company's secret owners. For 9 agonizing months, he was interrogated and held in an Iranian jail, a pawn in a game he didn't even know he was playing. The CIA refused to get involved, worried it would expose their connection to the company. The man's life was on the line because of their secret. Ultimately, the German BND, feeling a greater sense of responsibility, secretly paid a $1 million ransom to Iran to secure Buehler's release. The incident created a deep rift between the two partner agencies. The Germans were furious that the CIA had been willing to sacrifice an innocent man to protect the operation. For his part, Hans Buehler was eventually fired by Crypto AG, which tried to blame him for the incident. His life and career were ruined. He was betrayed by his company, his government, and a secret he was never meant to know. His story became a tragic symbol of the collateral damage of Operation Rubicon. The ethical dilemmas extended far beyond a single individual. By selling weakened encryption to so many countries, the US and Germany were effectively ensuring those nations remained vulnerable. They profited from this vulnerability, both financially and geopolitically. They watched as allies of their targets used that weakness to their advantage in conflicts. This created a web of deception, where trust was weaponized. The very idea of Swiss neutrality, which was the bedrock of Crypto AG's success, was exploited to its fullest extent. The operation forced spies and politicians to weigh the value of intelligence against the lives and security of people around the world. The Hans Buehler affair was the beginning of the end for the CIA-BND partnership. The incident soured relations between the two agencies, and the growing risk of exposure in a post-Cold War world made the Germans nervous. In 1993, the BND decided to exit the operation. They sold their half of Crypto AG to the CIA for $17 million, ending a partnership that had lasted for over 2 decades. The CIA continued to run the operation alone for another 25 years. But the golden age of Rubicon was over. The world was changing. Digital encryption was becoming more complex, and the risk of the secret getting out was higher than ever before. The company itself was slowly dismantled. The CIA milked the operation for as long as it could, but by 2018, the technology was becoming obsolete, and the business was no longer sustainable. The agency sold off the company's assets, and Crypto AG was broken up and liquidated. Its business was split between 2 new firms, which have since stated they have no ties to any foreign intelligence agencies. For a brief moment, it seemed as if one of the largest and most audacious intelligence operations in history would simply fade away. Its secrets buried forever with the defunct company that served as its front. But secrets that big rarely stay buried. In 2020, the story finally broke. The Washington Post, in a joint investigation with German and Swiss broadcasters, obtained a classified internal CIA history of the operation. This 96-page document, along with other leaked files, laid bare the entire half-century of deception. It detailed the secret purchase of the company, the methods used to rig the machines, and the crucial intelligence successes. The world was stunned to learn that for decades, governments had been paying millions of dollars to a company owned by the CIA to protect their secrets from the CIA. The aftermath of the revelation was surprisingly muted. There was international outrage, but it quickly faded. Switzerland launched a parliamentary inquiry that ultimately produced few consequences. Germany remained quiet. The CIA and BND have never officially commented on Operation Rubicon. No one was ever held accountable. The story serves as a powerful and unsettling reminder of the hidden architecture of global power. It shows how trust can be manufactured and sold, and how the hunger for secrets can lead intelligence agencies to operate in a moral gray zone, where the lines between ally and adversary, protection and betrayal, are blurred beyond recognition.